So, good evening, everyone. Uh, my name still remains Mr. Cheng
Good
Daniel.
evening, sir.
If you can hear me, okay,
Yes,
great. If you can hear me, let me see some thumbs up from you, from your own end. Let me have a thumbs up from your own end, just to be sure you all can hear me.
yes, sir. We can hear you. Confusing, sir. Hold on.
Sorry for the echo. Let me fix that. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can hear you.
Okay. All right. So without wasting much time, sorry for that echo. That has been fixed. So quickly, we're going to continue from where we stopped yesterday, which is just a process of on how you can log into your skills, how you can log into your NetAccount account. So what I'm going to do, I will now do a demonstration with respect to that quickly. So let me share the screen once again from this end. So do you have anything on your screen over there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So
Yes, sir.
now I'm going to, okay, thank you. So I'm going to open a different tab. I'm using Google Chrome. So let me open a different tab. So usually from the website, which is netacad.com, or you go to ncs plateau.org.ng, there's a link also added to the website. So you can as well go to that place too. So, but it's easy to take note of this address. It's spelled netacad.com. So you just type that into your address box, you enter. So I want to demonstrate as a first-time user of this account. So we are here on the page netacad.com. At the top right, you have the login button. Top right, where my cursor is, you have the login button. So you go ahead and click on the login button. It redirects you to a page where you have a form. That form, you need to enter your email, the email you've registered with us. So in my own case, I created a different account. So I'm going to use that, which is chenpaul@gmail.com. And click the login. it takes you to this area where it presents another place for you to enter your password. So go ahead and enter your password. And click the login button. You will now be redirected to your dashboards. So this is how your dashboard should look like. For some of you, if you are enrolled into multiple classes, it will be shown this way. So in my own case, I've been enrolled into 2 classes. I have Endpoint Security, IT Essentials 8. So you can have even more than what I have on the screen here. So if you look at the top, within this area, you have the Cisco logo. You have the Explore. Explore is just for you to explore the courses being offered by Cisco, NetAcad, and you can also get some resources. There's a place for you to look at resources available to you. Okay. So let's close this. Within this area is a search area. You have, like right now, I've logged in as a learner. Then you can also change your language. Usually these international languages like French, France, Arabic, you can also change it here. This place is a symbol of a notification. If there are messages for you, you can look at it by clicking. Then the most important part that I want you to take note of is this area where you see my name, Damien. Underneath, you have learner. It means I'm a student in this class. So there's a lot you can get from here. If you click, you have this where you can easily log out. You have your full name. So just the way it's presented here, that is how it's going to be printed out on your certificates. So you can change it, and to do so, there's a place for you to make those changes by going to update profile. Come down to this area where you have profile, then update profile. So you can come here, then make your change. And you need to do that before your instructor, that's I myself, complete, that's mark you or check you as completed, meaning that you have completed this course. You need to do that. Then to download your certificates, whether for endpoint security or ethical hacking and whatnot, so you can come here and download it, including badges. Cisco do offer some discount for some kind of courses that you want to write. They will support you, provided you perform very well in most of the key courses. Usually the CCNA, you do very well with CCNA 1, CCNA 2 up to 3. By the time you want to write the exams, there's a different kind of exams that you want to write. They may give you a discount. So when I say different kind of exams, what you do here is basically an academic certificate that we offer to you that is useful in some particular regions within Africa and also Europe. But the other type of certificate that you want to do that is worldwide recognized, it doesn't mean that this is not recognized. So a lot of countries, like I said, depending on the region, still recognize the NetAcad certificate that we present to you. So the one that we say that is worldwide recognized, you need to write an exam in a Pearson VUE. It's a testing center. They are available in your region or in your area, which you have to pay some amounts before you write the exams. by the time you are done, you've passed the exams, you'll be offered a certificate that you need to use. So to visit that site, you could visit a site. Let me search. It's known as Pearson. That's Pearson View. Let's see. Okay, you can take note of the spelling: PEARSONVUE.com. So this is the site. So you can take your time, explore the site to look at those certifications that you want to write that is worldwide recognized. So I've clicked on the exam programs. So this is what you get from the Pearson view. Let's accept the cookies. So this is the Pearson view. And if you scroll down, let's look for Cisco. You should have Cisco somewhere. You can also do some CompTIA exams. There are CompTIA exams available. Let's look at that of Cisco. I hope I didn't miss it. Okay, that should be Cisco. Where is it? Anyway, without wasting much. Okay, here is it. You have Cisco. That is where my cursor is. Cisco Systems. You click on that. These are other exams too. You can also take your time and look at them to see which one you can do. Can see data recognitions, defend acquisition, university, and so many. Just take your time. Dell Technologies, they are all there. Look at those ones too. So, but for Cisco, let's click on that. Let's see what we have with Cisco. Where is it? I think I'm missing this. Yeah, here is it. Cisco Systems. I hope you can see that. Let me increase the zoom. Hope this is clear enough. So we'll click on the Cisco. It takes us to this environment where you now have some additional information with respect to the exam. So this is Cisco, but you need to also create an account to log in. Probably there are some things that will be hidden to guests. So you need to create an account to log in. So you have find a test center. You can find a test center nearest to you. Find a test center on a military base. View exams, test accommodation. So you can look at these and explore. But let's still scroll down and see if we have other additional information. So you can see the Cisco Software Program offers a part of for anyone with career aspiration. So you can look at these ones too. So there's a place for pricing. You can look at and see where we can get that for pricing. View exams. Let's see here. I think there should be a place for pricing. Okay. Proctored exam. Online on proctored. All these things, just take your time, read it, see what it means. So proctored exams. Okay. So here, I'll just click on proctored exams. You see CCNA, CCST, CCT, and so on. But let's look at, let's see if we can see cyber ops. Okay, there's cyber ops here. There's cyber ops certification here. So let's click here. Brings us to. So the cyber ops, they are usually they have a special code attached to it. Like for this is that's 200201. So if I click, I'm just trying to see where we can get the price. Okay, anyway, just without wasting much time, I don't want us to go deep into this, but just see how you can take your time, explore on this. There's a place for you can check on the price for you to write the international certification. So this is it about this area. So let's continue with the academy program. So these are areas that you need to look at, and you have a lot of information. Just take your time, explore. Just like I said, explore. Click on the explore look at some of the courses we offer here. There are some that are you can self-enroll. You do well, you have a certificate on that. So now let's look at the main thing that brought us here, why we are here, which is the endpoint security. So let's click on the endpoint security here. So I'm going to do that. Just click on this where you have this play symbol. Just click. It brings you to a new page. You have a new page, just like what I explained yesterday. So this is the page. And I also explained how you can also read through, look at the content. So all our materials are online, okay? So the thing we're going to start with in this program, we're going to start with, that's the introduction, but we'll just jump into module 1, which is cybersecurity threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks, followed by module 2, securing networks, which will be followed by module 3. And the beauty about this is that the system monitors, the system measure your performance. You have an indication here, just below the course. You have an indication whether, like as you read, starting from the first page, you move to the second page, up to the end, or you have not reached the end, you have it in percentage. You have like a metering in percentage here, below here, in green. So that's to tell you your performance based on what you do. As you complete, you have 100%. You move to the next one, and so on. So while you go through, you have even some short quizzes that you can do. It has nothing to do with your total grading, but there's a place for you where you can write your quizzes. There's a place for you. There's always a link that is also attached within this module that redirects you to a place where you write a quiz that will be graded to you. So these are all the things we're going to do. So module 3, attacking the foundation. Module 4, attacking what we do. Module 5, wireless network. Module 6, network security infrastructure. Then checkpoint exam, network security. So this is one of the exams you're going to do. So you have to do this. Then module 7, the Windows operating system. Module 8, Linux overview. 9, system and endpoint protection. 10, cybersecurity principles, practices, and processes. Then you also have another exam, checkpoint exam, OS and endpoint security. Then lastly, you now have the final exam, which is known as what? Endpoint final exam. And before you attend this exam, it's expected that you have to complete what we refer to as end of course survey. End of course survey. This is key to our program. We want to know whether you enjoy this program or not. We want to get a feedback from you. So this area is meant for you. So you need to fill them. You have some question. It has nothing to do with your grading. So you just to get some feedback from you. Then I talked about the resources. There are resources you can look at. I mentioned that yesterday. So you can see, you can download packet tracer. You can also read a PDF document for you. So just take your time and look at all this. So that is it for this part. Then let's go to grade. You want to check your grade. You want to check your performance. That's the grade book. If you look at where my cursor is, the top, you see where my cursor is that is where the grade book is. So you just click on that. You want to check your performance. So you can see all this will be the exams you need to take within this program. So the exams are not much. You can see just you have 2 checkpoints, checkpoint exam, network security, checkpoint exam, OS. So you can see just based on what I've mentioned earlier, endpoint security. Each of these, you have a total score of over 100, 100, 100. Then at the end of it, you have an average is calculated based on this. So you can see here, is at the end of it, you should have over 300, and everything will be calculated in percentage. So yes, it's expected that you get above 75% of the total weight of this program. So that is it on this part. So let me quickly allow you ask your question before we now move in or dive into the module for today. So any question from you? If there is none, then we'll move on. So any question? The house is silent. I hope I'm not alone.
I'm not alone, sir. It's well understood.
Okay. All right. So since there are no questions, then let's see. Let me start off my slide for today. So you just give me just some few seconds to bring up the slides. So so now let me bring up the slide. Look at what we need to do today. Okay. So okay, let's share the screen. So let me bring up this slide. So do you have anything on your screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's begin. So we start with module 1. So in this module, cybersecurity threats. Threats, vulnerabilities, and attacks. So these are the objectives of this module. Module title is just a repeat of what I've mentioned earlier. Module objectives explain how threat actors execute some of the most common types of cyber attacks. So if you look at the two columns, the first one, topic title, the second, topic objective. Common threats. Explain the threat vulnerabilities and attack that occur in the various domains. Deception. Identify the different deception methods used by attackers to deceive their victims. Cyber attacks describe some common types of network attacks. Wireless and mobile device attacks. Describe common types of wireless and mobile device attack. Application attacks describe types of application attacks. So you see this topic, some of you must have fallen victim to one of these mentioned here. So when we go deeper into this program, probably we may hear some testimonies or confession of what probably must have happened to one of you. So common threats, threat domains. A threat domain is considered an area of control, authority, or protection that attackers can exploit to gain access to a system. So that's the domain. It's an area. So when we say area, okay, the area can be on your system, The area can be where you live, that's with the people around you. So, and some of these are area. Even when you go to some sites, those can be area as well. So attackers can exploit systems within a domain through what? Direct physical access to systems and networks. So direct physical. So attackers, who are the attackers? You know, the attackers, these are guys that are after you, probably for money, probably to damage your reputation and other things. So they are usually negative most at times in nature. So we have different attackers. They won't come to that. In some other courses, you hear things like uh, you have the black, you have the white, you have the gray. So these are different kinds of attackers, which we will not talk about in this program, or maybe we'll look at it later on. So wireless networking extends beyond an organization boundaries. So like your mobile devices, you want to connect to a bank or a wireless device. So you can see wherever you are, even within a banking hall, you have signal to connect to the banking network or even outside the building. So you see, wireless network extends beyond an organization boundary. So attackers can exploit such a system. Bluetooth or near field communication NFC devices, which is common with some device like phones, iPhones, you have NFC, Samsung Galaxy, you have NFC. We have other, even the top big phones, even the Infinix, you see have
If I
NFC.
want to know if
So
it's on
NFC.
my
Can you put your mic on mute, please? So that NFC usually you can use it to, it contains, that's your device contains your details, maybe for banking transaction. So instead of using your ATM card, payment or debit card, yeah, your device will contain such information. So you don't need to go around with your card. So you just taking this device close to a receiver, the receiver picks the information and you make your payment. Malicious email attachment. Some of you have seen this. You just see emails from unknown sites and you probably end up clicking and you end up downloading a script into your system. Less secure element with an organization supply chain. So when we say supply, what is being given or being handed over to an organization. So how is it done? What is the process? Is there any checks in between from who is supplying down to who is receiving? So is there any checks? An organization's social media account. These are one, removable media such as flash drives. Uh, Sometimes an attacker, you know, these attackers can be funny. Maybe they want to gain access to a banking facility or a very a kind of organization that they wouldn't want to expose their sensitive data. So the best way to gain into such organization, into their network, is by probably generating some kind of malicious code into a flash and drop it in the banking hall. And somebody seeing that may think that it's a free drive. So you picked it up, you
no.
put it into your system, and you think you're okay. So attackers could take advantage of using this process. Cloud-based application. Cloud-based, there are applications. A good example, your Google Drive. It can be is a cloud-based application. Your email running on your mobile device is another good example of cloud-based application, and so many others. Some of you who are using Outlook will be using that. So a lot of us that are using mobile devices already are using one form of cloud-based application. So types of cyber threats, you have software attacks. First of all, the types of cyber threats are categorized based on this: software attacks, software errors, sabotage, human error, thefts, hardware failures, utility interruption, natural disaster. So all these are types of cyber threats. So if you look at the other side, you see it gives a little bit of more information with respect to each of these categories. So if you look at the software attacks, there's what we call denial of service. Denial of service is an attack that you have maybe users who want to access a server or the internet are being denied to access such services on such a server. Maybe if the server is an email server, you want to gain access, the next thing you see, you click, you type, everything revolves within the same point without even displaying a page to you. So that could be an example of denial of service. So the software that probably intends to fetch information from the server is being denied. A computer virus is a good example of another software attacks, which is common with so many of us. Software errors, a software bug that is probably in the code. There's an error that is not properly connected. That's a script that is used to build up that application. So it can be a bug. An application going offline, not online, then a cross-site script or illegal files server share. These are another kind of scripts that is also software based, which are usually common with their browsers. Then sabotage, unauthorized user compromising an organization primary database. Then the defacement of an organization website. Human error, inadvertent data entry errors, a firewall misconfiguration. I believe you've heard of firewall before. Thefts, laptops or equipment being stolen from an unlocked room, hardware failure, hardware drives crashes. We hear this many a times. You just hear people complain or say that their hard drive has crashed. Utility interruption, electrical power outage. This is very common with us. Right now, I'm in the dark, but thank God my laptop is running with little energy. So this is very common, but in the developed nations, they make sure that their servers are connected to the grid and they are sure the grid, they will always have steady power and that will not be a problem. So, but for us, it's you have an outage, there's a problem here. But though we're used to it. Water damage resulting from sprinkler failure. Then severe storms such as hurricanes or tornadoes, earthquake, floods, fires, all these are natural disasters can be also a threat. So let's move to the next one. Internal versus external threat. I think I need to throw a question here. Let me find out which one is. So I want to find out, you have a bank and you have an attacker. So, and the attacker has two options to connect to the bank. It's either he connects from outside of the bank or he gets into the bank and connects to their network. Let me repeat again. An attacker wants to have access to the bank, let's say the bank server. He has two ways to gain access to the bank server. It's either he connects to the bank server from outside, probably maybe from a cafe or from his own PC somewhere, or he gets into the bank and connects to the computer within the bank. So if I may ask, which one do you think is most or the most vulnerable, which attack will be more damaging to the organization. Any answer from you? I want to gain your feedback from you. Or any answer? Can anyone make an attempt? Or you don't understand the question? Then let me understand what I mean. Let me hear from you. So
I
which
think the one
attack?
from inside. The one from inside.
Okay, that will be more dangerous. That will cause more disaster. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
Any other person? Any other person? Okay, so let's move to the next place. The next page. Sorry. Okay. So let's look at this: internal versus external threats. Valuable, sensitive information is personal, is personal records, intellectual property, and financial data. So internal threat accidentally or intentionally carried out by current or former employees and other contract partners. Operation of servers or network infrastructure devices are compromised by connecting infected media or by accessing malicious emails or websites. External threat usually comes from amateur or skilled attackers. Attacks can exploit vulnerabilities in networks, that's network devices, or can use social engineering techniques. So let's look at this picture or diagram. Cyber criminals. You have the external threats, internal threats. So the internal threats, employees and ex-employees, contract staff, trusted partners. These are the people that may compromise the network or may compromise the server. So just like what you have said, the answer you gave, the most dangerous, the one that can cause a large, how will I call it, that can be much more disaster or cause much more disaster, usually the internal ones. So you can imagine somebody within and is able to use a flash drive that has a script and plug it into any computer system that connects to the server is much more dangerous. But still, the external, if you don't provide the right security layers, that's security at every levels, if your security is open, it might look the same as somebody working within the organization. So if you're building your network, you must create some level of security at different levels. So for the external threat, organized attackers, you have activists, you have terrorists, you have state sponsor, hackers, you have black hat, okay, the one I've mentioned earlier, black hats, gray hats, white hats. Then you have the amateurs. So we have a lot of amateurs here in Nigeria, although we have some professionals too as well. Amateurs are usually those who just picked some other softwares and use it to attack, okay? Then if you look at the hackers, when we say the hackers, those are equally attackers, but though we have the black hats are usually negative in nature. The white hat are positive in nature. They do that for the purpose of ethical hacking, where they hack into a system, then they advise the organization, and before they do that, they are authorized to do so. Then the gray are in between the white and the black. That's the gray is in between the white and the black. Okay. So you have the other organized attackers, hacktivists. Hacktivists are just like activists in our society, people who it's just like a protest. They attack the network to show the unhappiness, to show their displeasure about a certain situation or condition. Then terrorists, we know what we mean by terrorists. Those are to cause fear, cause harm. State-sponsored, this is very common when you have countries like Russia and the USA. The US, you always hear things of servers being attacked or their network being attacked from outside. Even the Chinese, you hear threats like that. So these are usually state-sponsored. These are sponsored by government. User threats and vulnerabilities. A user domain includes anyone accessing an organization information system, including employees, customers, and contract partners. Users are the weakest link in the information security system, posing as a significant threat to confidentiality, integrity, and availability of an organization data. So example of user threats are, okay, when we say user, somebody who just pick the system, you are the user, like you and I, like right now, I'm right in front of my system. I'm the user of the data, user of the system. So we are all users, okay? Even as you hold your mobile device, you are also a user to that mobile device. So example of user threats are no awareness of security policy. Sometimes we just, in this part of our world, you go to some organization, yes, they have their own policies on how you use your device on their network. So they provide some guidelines, they provide some information to you on how to use such device. There are some areas too. They give specific type of device that you need to use on the network. So they will provide information to you. Poorly enforced security policies. Yes, coming out with policies that is, okay, take for instance, maybe you say you want to introduce a policy that has to do with, you tell people not to come in with flash drive and plug it to a system. But your mobile device can also be converted or made to store information and connect to a system as a flash drive. So that has not been looked at. But you have looked at that, okay, the flash drives should not be allowed, but mobile devices can also be a storage to a system. So data thefts, unauthorized activity, downloads, media, VPNs, websites, these are unauthorized activity. So there are some organizations do not allow you to use VPNs, okay? Destruction of system, application, or data. So these are examples of users. So threats to devices. Devices left powered on, unattended, powered on, unattended, downloading files, photos, music, or videos from unreliable sources, software with vulnerabilities installed on an organization's devices, new viruses, worms, and other types of malware, insertion of unauthorized USB drives, CD, DVDs on the network devices, no policies in place to protect an organization IT infrastructure, use of outdated hardware or software. So there's benefits in terms of updating your software. So by default, many of us that are using a current Android devices or iOS, by default, the system automatically updates. So anytime your system, maybe in case any system will make a request or an application, it's good to do so, okay? To prevent what we refer to as zero-day attack, which we'll look at later on. Threats to local area network. What's a local area network? I believe you all know that. Let me be sure you guys know what we mean by area network, local area network. If you do, can I have a thumbs up? If you don't, let me have a thumbs down, please. And just to be sure we are together. So do you understand what we mean by local area network? Okay, I'm having 2 persons, 3, with their thumbs up. So how about others? 4. How about others? Okay, 5. I'm getting 6. Okay. So therefore means that, okay, majority know what we mean by local area network. So let's move to the next thing. Threats to the private cloud. Threats to private cloud. The private cloud domain includes any private server, resources, and IT infrastructure available to members of a single organization via the internet. So you can have an organization, let's say University of Jos. University of Jos has a private cloud, which it's much more focused on the staff and students of that institution. So anyone who is a guest may only probably be given access to some certain resources. So, but they are limited to what they can get. But everything is owned by the academic, that's the institution. So threats to the private cloud domain include unauthorized network probing and port scanning. Unauthorized as people making an attempt to gain access by using some special tools, network tools, and also to scan some ports that are open or closed. I hope you all know what we mean by that. Ports. Unauthorized access to resources, router, firewall, or network device, operating system, or software vulnerabilities. Router, firewall, or network device configurations error. Remote users access on organization infrastructure and download sensitive data. I asked a question earlier that I believe we all know what we mean by local area network. And if we do, I believe you all know what we mean by router, firewall, and probably switches. I hope we all know that. This course, the course, we expect that you already have the basics of networking. In fact, endpoint security expects that you have the basics of networking. You have the basics of you must have done introduction to cybersecurity for you to be here. Okay, but if you are finding it difficult to understand this, I will suggest that you go back to the dashboard. On your dashboard, you explore. There's a place for you to gain the basics. They have topic. You have what we call network essentials. You can look at network essentials. You also look at introduction to cybersecurity so that you can gain some foundation before you go deeper into this program. So let's proceed. So threats to public cloud, we've talked about the private, now the public. So the public cloud domain is the entire computing services hosted by a cloud service, or internet provider that are available to the public and share across organizations. So 3 subscription-based models of public cloud services that organization may choose to use. We have software as a service. So first of all, a good example of cloud, those who provide the public clouds, you have Amazon, you have Google. Google provide cloud, that's public cloud services. So these are example of a few. We have many of them out there that provide this. So it means anyone can gain access, register, gain access to some services provided by such organization. So software as a service, meaning on the public cloud, there are services that are being provided to you. So when we say software as a service, provides organization with software stored in the cloud that is centrally hosted and accessed by users via a web browser, app, or other software. So A good example of that, I believe some of you must have used Google Spreadsheet. You have used Google Documents, or you have used Outlook Spreadsheet. Those are examples of software as a service. So like some of us who don't have a license, a Microsoft Word document or Microsoft Word application, Microsoft PowerPoint application, then you can also have this in the cloud. You can just connect to the internet and have access to the software. Platform as a service, it allows an organization to develop, run, and manage its application on the service hardware using its tools. So, platform, you are being provided with an environment where probably you have like a terminal. What we mean by terminal, where you type in your script, then you run your script within that environment and see how it works. So that's what we mean by platform. So usually provided to developers, those who are into programming, this platform are usually provided to them. So you can have access to platform as a service on Google. Google has its own. Amazon they have their own platform as a service where you can run some script. Infrastructure as a service provide virtual computing resources such as hardware, software, server, storage, and other infrastructure components. An organization will buy access to them. So meaning that there's what they call virtual private server. Virtual private server is an infrastructure as a service. You are being provided with a virtual server. So it's left for you to make changes, or you add whatever operating system that you need, whatever. It's just more of like they have been provided with a physical system, but it's not really a physical system, but it's a virtual system. It has its own resources, like the storage, the RAM, and other things. So that's what I mean by infrastructure as a service. So it's being given to you. It's just like you are being given a hardware, so you decide on what do you want to use it for. So there's always a fee for that. So Amazon Web Services, they provide such. Google also provides such. Microsoft also, they have their own. Threats to application. The application domain, I'm coming. Okay. Threats to applications. The application domain includes all the critical critical system applications and data used by organizations to support operation. So common threats to applications, someone gaining unauthorized access to data center. Data center is an area where you have servers, servers where users from any part of the world try to access the services provided within those servers. So data center is just, you have clusters of servers within such facility. So in that facility, it has its own independent power. It has its own IT personnel that maintain the system. Then you have several servers that are being monitored at the same time using KVM switch. So computers, rooms, wiring closets, or systems. Server downtime during maintenance periods. Common threats to application. Like this server downtime, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, DigitalOcean, Heroku, all these guys have a way whereby if they want to run maintenance, they have a kind of a redundant system. So they could bring down one part with the purpose of maintaining then the other part of the system is up and running, attending to clients. So, but if you have a downtime completely on that system, it means that it's not good for production. Network operating system software vulnerability, like the switches, routers have operating systems. They have their own operating system that need to run, redirect traffic. Okay, so those can also be vulnerable to where attackers may exploit. Data loss, client server or web application development vulnerability. So these are common threats with applications. Threat complexity. Software vulnerabilities occur because of program mistakes, protocol vulnerabilities, or system misconfiguration. So during programming, you may have or you create doors, openings for an attacker to take advantage. Protocols could be vulnerable. So that is why in some cases it's good that some certain things need to be updated, okay? Or system misconfiguration, you didn't do the right configuration to set up a system. So that could be problem. So some of the attack methods by cyber criminals are advanced persistent threats, APT, that's a continuous attack that uses elaborate espionage tactics involving multiple actors, sophisticated malware. So these kind of attacks are usually common where you hear China made an attempt to attack the US government server. Those are examples of espionage tactics. So you could also have Russia or US attacking Russia and so on. So these are usually common at that level. Algorithm attack. Take advantage of algorithms in a piece of legitimate software to generate unintended behaviors. So these are threat complexity. So backdoors and rootkits. Criminals also use many different types of malware to carry out their attacks. Some common types are backdoors. Backdoors. Cyber criminals use programs to gain unauthorized access to a system by bypassing the standard authentication procedures. Okay? Use programs to gain unauthorized access to a system by bypassing the standard authentication procedure. So there are standards maybe set up, but people do not follow such standards. A remote administrative tool, RATs, remote administrative tool, RATs, program runs on the user machine to install a backdoor to provide administrative control over a target. So usually the many attackers, the first thing they want to achieve so that they can gain full access is to try to gain access to the administrative privileges. So they try to drop some certain kind of scripts or programs that create an opening, which stands as a backdoor. Okay, create an opening for them so that they can gain that administrative or administrator privileges. Rootkits modify the operating system to create a backdoor which attackers can use to access the computer remotely. So most use software vulnerability to access resources that should not be accessible, privilege escalation, and modify system files. So this is also similar to gaining that administrative privilege, but in this case, it's more of like gaining access to the core of the operating system. Access to the core. So if you have a system infected by rootkit, gaining access to the core, breaking down the privileges of the administrator, like many a times if you are using your Windows, the solution to it is to, some of you say, format because there's no how. Even you install your antivirus on such system, antivirus will not fix that, will not fix the problem once you have a rootkit, a system that is infected by rootkits. Threat intelligence and research resources. So threat intelligence and research. So the thing with cybersecurity, or the thing with security on our network, or on the internet, or even on our endpoint, you need to get yourself updated with information. You need to get yourself updated. So the United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team, US SAT, and the US Department of Homeland Security sponsored a dictionary of common vulnerabilities and exposures, CVE. Some other threat intelligence sources are. So what we're saying here is that these guys, every day, they come up with information of threats. So on their sites, you have a lot of information regarding to recent threats that you need to look at the detail, what they do, what is the target of such threats. So these guys provide a lot of information with respect to that. So some other threat intelligence sources are the dark web. The dark web too is another place information can be gathered. But in this case, an encrypted web content that requires a specific software authorization or configuration to access, which is not indexed by conventional search engines. So what we mean is that when we say index, the search engines, every website is being indexed. Every website, like for instance, when you go to search engine, you just type, you're searching for Cisco, maybe just Cisco, then you have options of those, the names. Maybe you have cisco.com, or probably you have cisco.net somewhere. So it's based on the search engines. Search engines try to connect through this indexing of such site. But in the dark web, you don't have such indexing. A lot of things are hidden from the search engine. So search engines will not be able to pick up information from such website. And the dark web, a lot of things happen there. And for you to gain access to the dark web, there are some certain things you need to do to gain access to the dark web. Indicator of compromise, IOC. IOC such as malware signatures or domain names provide evidence of security breaches and detail about them. Indicator of compromise. Automated indicator sharing, AIS, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, capability enable the real-time exchange of cybersecurity threat indicators using a standardized structured language called STIX and TAXI. So these are threat intelligence and research resources. So there are so many things you may think that you know, but you can go further by going through this. And even some threats, when they come, when you, like for some of us that did cyber security, that's CCNA cyber ops, there are kind of threats that you see, you pick, and there's a way you do some analysis, and it comes out with some information. Then you use such information, and you go to some of these resources, and they have a dictionary that relates to what you are looking for, and it gives you a detailed information about what you have that is a threat on your system. So let me pause a bit here before we move to deception. If you have any question before we proceed, let me hear from you. I've been talking for close to an hour. So any question from you, anyone? I hope you guys are not sleeping. I know it's late. This is after 9.
We are not sleeping, no.
No.
I can see somebody has gone out of the class. One person has gone out of the class. So probably, I wouldn't know, or maybe network. So I hope you, but any questions so Apart from what I've just mentioned, or what I've just presented, please. Any questions so far? Okay, so since there is none, let's move on to the deception. After this, this is 11 minutes after 9. So let's move to the next. Here's my slides. So deception, social engineering. Social engineering is a non-technical strategy that attempts to manipulate individuals into performing specific action or divulging confidential information. Some common types of social engineering attacks. So, like this one is all about this particular part, which is the deception, is very, very common in our society here. Very, very common. You hear things like Yahoo, Yahoo. They fall into these groups, into this group of deception. So let's look at some types within this social engineering. So pretexting. This occurs when an individual lies to gain access to confidential data. Individual lies to gain access to confidential data. Something for something, quid pro quo, involves a request for personal information in exchange for something like a gift. Okay, you ask for personal information, probably maybe the surname, you provide the surname, then you have something in return. Identity fraud uses a person's stolen identity to obtain goods or services by deception. This one is more of impersonation. So uses a person's stolen identity to obtain goods or services. Social engineering tactics. Cyber criminals rely on several social engineering tactics to gain access to sensitive information like what? Authority, intimidation, consensus, scarcity, urgency, familiarity, trust. So cyber criminals rely on social engineering tactics. So, like authority, you have somebody who is authorized and give directive, and based on that directive you feel that this is an authority that is giving directive, and you obey. So that an attacker could take advantage of such position as an authority. Okay, he gives directive and you go ahead and comply. So that's one. Then intimidation, you have people who threaten, if you don't do, or like bullying, you don't do some certain things, this is what happens to you. So and so on. You have consensus based on agreements, scarcity, what is not available. Attackers could take advantage of that, what is not available, so that to make it available to you. Urgency, so desperate that you need something at a certain period of time before you lose it. Attackers could take advantage of that. You have familiarity, somebody you are used to, you are familiar with. So all these are some things that cyber criminals rely on using social engineering tactics, like the trust, maybe somebody who has gained your trust. In the process, at the end of it, you divulge information, sensitive information to such a person. So these are some common things you have within the system in terms of this social engineering. Shoulder surfing and dumpster diving. Shoulder surfing, a simple attack involves observing or looking over a target's shoulder to gain valuable information such as PIN, access codes, or credit card details. I remember during exams, you have somebody right in front of you, is putting on something on the sheet. You have some colleagues try to look over the shoulder to see what that person is doing. That's an example of a simple example when it relates to shoulder surfing. So somebody is using a mobile device, working on it, probably entering some PIN access codes, then maybe behind that person, you look over the shoulder to see what that guy is doing. Criminals do not always have to be near their victim to shoulders off. They can use binoculars. So from a distance, somebody can use binoculars to see what you are doing. Security cameras to obtain this information. So dumpster diving. The process of going through targets trash to see discarded information. Documents containing sensitive information should be shredded or stored in bond bags until destroyed by fire after a certain period of time. So in your organization, you have a place where you dispose sensitive or documents, you put them in trash, thinking that the trash will be taken and properly disposed within those periods or before those trash are taken out or taken away. You could have a criminal, somebody who wants to get sensitive information can go through such trash. Impersonation and hoaxes. Cyber criminals have many other deception techniques to help them succeed. Impersonation, act of tricking someone into doing something they would not ordinarily do by pretending to be someone else. I believe some of you must have gotten phone calls from unknown person pretending to be a friend of yours or probably a schoolmate. So that is impersonation. Criminals can also use impersonation to attack others. Then hoax. An act intended to deceive or trick someone can cause just as much disruption as an actual security breach. Okay? To deceive or trick someone can cause just as much disruption as actual security breach in terms of the person being coordinating to deliver the service or to deliver what he needs to do. So you disorganize such a person. Okay. Piggybagging and tailgating. They occur when a criminal follows an authorized person to gain physical entry into a secure location or a restricted area. Criminals can achieve this by giving the appearance of being escorted into the facility by an authorized person, joining and pretending to be part of a large crowd that enters the facility. Targeting. So, sorry, all these are what criminals can do, intend to achieve to gain access to a secure location. So these are some the common practice they will choose to do that. So one way of preventing this is to use two sets of doors. One we call it the man trap, which means individuals enter through an outer door and must close before gaining access through an inner door. Okay, so are you still with me? Are you guys with
Yes,
me?
yes,
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 sir.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do something quickly. Um, I'm using two systems. So I'm going to switch. This one is indicating that the battery is low. So let me quickly switch. Um, so let me quickly switch. Okay. Hello, can you guys hear me? Sorry for this interruption. Can you hear me,
Yeah.
please? If you do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sorry for this interruption. So please, sorry, we'll just continue quickly. I think we have less than 35 minutes. Um, so let me quickly share the screen. Um, so I think immediately after this class, I'm going to send um, a lab to you guys, or you can go through your dashboard. You find some labs, and I want you to do these labs that relates to this module 1. Like yesterday, I was like trying to explain to you on how you can use the packet tracer. I believe you all by now know how to use your packet tracer, but let's go through the module. There's a place for you that you need to download the packet tracer and install. You will enjoy this when you are using a, either a laptop or a desktop. You enjoy that. The packet tracer you have on mobile devices like the Android, iOS, yeah, they are not too to navigate, to do what you need to do, configure. Probably a small network will be challenging. It will be challenging. So I will encourage you, if you can, if you don't have a system, maybe you get one from a relative or a friend, a colleague from the office, then you install the packet tracer. So you will enjoy a lot out from this program. So please do that. So let's continue. I believe you have my slide on your screen. If you do, just say yes. If you don't, you let me know by saying no. So do you have anything on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
okay, all right. So I have two persons saying yes. So let's quickly move on with this. Um, so we're done with this part. Other method of deception, be aware that attackers have many more tricks up their sleeve to deceive their victims. These these guys, these things are very, very common in our society, in Nigeria especially. All these Yahoo, they come up with different ways, different tricks. Even the ones that have been discovered by people, the trick, they come up with another new one. So one has to be careful in terms of divulging or giving out information, confidential information. So there are a lot of things they do. So these are other methods: invoice scam, watering hole attack, typo squatting, is it pending influence campaigns. All these you have it in your curriculum. The details. Defending against deception. Organization must promote awareness of social engineering tactics and adequately educate employees on prevention measures. Here are some top tips. So these are some top tips that organizations need to take note of. Okay. So this lab is a lab that I want you guys to look at. I want you to look at it. Then probably I may ask question in our next class with respect to this. So explore social engineering techniques. In this lab, you have the lab through your Neta card. You get that through your Neta card, or I can also share that on our WhatsApp group. But all you need to have it within the net account. Cyber attacks. There's another with cyber attacks. What's the difference? We have cyber criminals who use many different types of malware to carry out attacks. But if I may ask, what do we understand? Okay, I believe we should know what we mean by malware. Malicious ware. That's what we mean by malware. The three most, that's malware stands for malicious ware. So the three most common types of malware are what? We have virus, we have worms, we have Trojan horse. So the virus type of computer program that when executed replicates and attaches itself to other files such as a legitimate program by inserting its code into it. So you can have maybe like a picture. A picture is a file, maybe a picture that is in JPEG, JPG, or PNG, or GIF, GIF, and so on. So you could have virus attached to pictures, picture file, have virus attached to your email. You can have virus attached to other forms of files you have within your Windows, and even your probably your Linux operating system, and even Mac operating system. So you can have viruses, different kind of viruses attaching to this. So they have a purpose, they have a target. That's the virus. Whoever that produced it or they created that has a purpose. They have a target. So worms, it replicates by independently exploiting vulnerabilities in network. So worms, once your network is vulnerable, just like I said, when we're looking at external attack and internal attack. The external attack, the moment they see, just like I said, every layer, before someone should gain access to the server from the internet, at the point at which is the gateway, at the point at which the communication goes into your network, you should have some level of protection, maybe from the gateway. After the gateway, you go to firewall, from firewall, like that. You need to create some level of protection. So, but if there are such connection, your network is vulnerable, there are openings, that is where the worm takes advantage. And the danger with worms, it chokes the network. It chokes the network in a way that users cannot be able to go out or come in. What I mean in terms of the services or in terms of whatever communication or request made, you have problem with that when it comes to worms. So the worms, they do replicate, and they can be fast. And they can choke off the network. Trojan horse, it carries out malicious operation by masking its true intent. It might appear legitimate, but is in fact very dangerous. So you could have a Trojan horse, maybe, like in this part of our world, we love free things online. When we see an application, maybe we see the cost, we are told that the cost of Microsoft 365 is about 35,000 naira or 50,000 naira. You see, many times, many people wouldn't want to go for that. So we prefer to get the one in the streets that probably is 1,500 naira, and we install that on our system. Okay, there are free software. In fact, they are almost free. Like that 500 naira is almost free. Instead of you going for the 40,000, it's almost free. Or you go online, you see one that they just tell you just download, you don't pay anything. Okay, so within such softwares, you could have hidden codes, you could have hidden scripts that could, the moment you just click to install, at the same time you also click to install the script. So Trojan horses usually hide themselves within software that tend to look legit. Logic bombs. A malicious program that waits for a trigger such as specified date or database entry to set off the malicious code. Until this trigger event happens, the logic bomb will remain inactive. So it's wait for something to initiate it. Probably, maybe, let's say Mr. Benga loves to go to some certain site, let's say a movie site or Netflix. So the logic bomb is a program or a script that has been designed to target Mr. Benga, who goes to Netflix. So at the time that he's going to Netflix, maybe that time that he wants to log into the account, he probably wants to enter, or he will enter some certain information like PIN or password, or probably maybe a two-factor authentication code that he receives. So he needs to enter it somewhere. So the logic bomb has been designed for a particular target, waiting for that to occur, for Mr. Benga to begin to type information. So the moment Mr. Benga types, that is where the logic bomb takes effect. The next thing, it begins to fetch information from Mr. Benga and send it to whoever that creates it. So once activated, it implements a malicious code that causes harm to a computer. So you have different logic bombs with their different purpose, different targets. So harm to a computer in various ways. It can sabotage database records, erase files, and attack operating system or application. So that happens the moment it sends an activity. So logic bombs attack and destroy the hardware component in a device or server, including cooling fans, CPU, memory, hard drives, and power supplies were recently discovered. So why I just cite that of Mr. Benga is just to give you an idea. He must do something to trigger it. Okay, he must probably like the password he entered to just to trigger the logic bomb. So this type of cyber attack is very, very common between countries, where like there's one, the United States of America were able to attack an Iranian nuclear facility by making the centrifuge that that works on the centrifuge is responsible for getting a pure element or compound for making nuclear materials. Quite okay is a nuclear material, but it's more of like preparing that nuclear material for energy purpose or for nuclear bomb. So what they did, they had a way of gaining access and triggering the centrifuge. That's a device that prepares those nuclear material. So it happened at a certain time. So there's a particular time that once the time reaches, activity begins. And that can happen at midnight where everyone is not within that facility. So that is when the attack started. So you can have logic bomb in this form. Ransomware designed to hold a computer system or the data it contains captive until completed payment. So it means that you have a system, an attacker attacks the system, encrypts your documents, encrypt all your important information. So for you to gain your information back to, it's just more like you just open up your system. Then the next thing, the document that you typed some few minutes ago or some days back, the next thing you see, the document changes to a different character, to a different icon. So maybe you see, maybe like your Word document change to a picture document, a picture file, or it changes to maybe something else, something strange. So when you want to have access to it, the next thing you see, probably you get a message that you need to pay some fee, you need to pay some amount. And usually these amounts are usually paid in cryptocurrency. So once you make the payment, it means you have paid the ransom. So your system has been hijacked. So that's what happened with ransomware. So let me quickly move to the next one. Denial of service. I think it's almost time. Denial of service attack. I think I've mentioned this earlier to prevent someone from gaining access to a service. So an attacker could overflow the system, engaging the system with multiple traffic in a manner that whoever that wants to gain access to get the legit person wants to gain access to such services is not allowed. So that's what I mean by denial of service. Okay. So domain name system can also be attacked. What is a domain name system? Many essential technical services are needed for network to operate, such as routing, addressing, and domain name naming. These are prime targets for attack. Let me quickly do a little demo on this part so that we have a clear understanding what we mean by domain name. So let me do this CMD. I hope you guys are with me. And I hope you can see my screen, my command line interface. This is a command line interface. To do that, you just go to your search and you type CMD. Are you with me? I hope I'm not alone.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you type CMD, let's do something. Let's do this command, ping www.google.com. I hope you can see what I've just typed. Can you see what I've just typed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So what we mean by ping is to test connection between my system and the server, the remote server. The remote server is Google, www.google.com. That's the remote server. So it's just to test if there is a communication between my system and the Google server. So if I do that, you will get a message like this. Let me do that quickly. So you get a message like this. So pinging www.google.com, then we are getting an information. This is our www.google.com. It now changes to this information. Okay, it sends something in bytes. So we're getting reply. See reply. We have this reply, the first one. We got another reply again, and we got another reply. Then we got statistics. Ping statistics for this address. That's this very address. You can see it's repeated here. This very address is repeated here. Okay. Then it told us that packets that were sent were 4. Okay. And the same packet is more of like I'm sending 4. So I should get 4 replies. So we got the 4 reply packets. So it therefore tells us that there is nothing that is lost along the path in terms of communicating between my system and the remote system. So the approximate round trip times in milliseconds, this is the time it took to send and receive, 31 milliseconds. And the maximum among these is what? 37 milliseconds, which is also captured here, as you can see. So the average time for this communication to take place is 34 milliseconds. So what we are trying to say here is that we use the pinging to test communication, whether the server exists. So if I try another, let's say if I do www. Let me ping again, www ping to, let's say www. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know whether if this exists.com. Let's see if it exists. Actually, this one exists. So there's a website that says I don't know. Wow. So let's try another one again. Let's say let's ping to, I love to call that name Benga. www. Is there Benga? No, let's add this.com. Let's see if something happens. So we are not getting anything. We're not getting any message. Pin request could not find this. It doesn't exist. This guy doesn't exist. So let me quickly explain what happened. If the site exists, if the site or the server exists, in terms of the communication, it's not the name that is being used. The name is converted to this address. So it's the address that is used that is later converted to binaries, zeros and ones. So it's the zeros and ones that is used for this communication. So there is a server that is responsible for converting or translating this address, the www.google.com, to this address. And that server is called the domain name server. That's a DNS server. Okay, so it's the one that is responsible for making this conversion. So you can also do ping for other sites. You will see you always have this. You have an address like this. Okay, so that's what you gain from that. So let's go back to this. So attackers could also take advantage of the DNS server. So many essential technical services needed for a network to operate, such as routing, addressing, and domain naming. I hope this is, yeah, okay, I hope you can see this, the slides. Addressing and domain naming. These are prime target for attacks. Cyber criminals can take advantage of vulnerabilities in DNS services to launch the following attack. So what we're saying is that that conversion from domain, that's the domain name to the respect or translated to the IP address, attackers could take advantage of that line of conversion. They can take advantage. So they can also pretend maybe you want to go to a website that let's say unijust.edu.ng. Okay, and you type unijust.edu.ng, then the next thing you see is a different site, not really the university site. So it means attackers have taken advantage of that. So it means that the DNS server is vulnerable or is being attacked. So domain reputation. The DNS is used by DNS servers to translate a domain name into a numerical IP address so that computers can understand it. If a DNS server does not know an IP address, it will ask another DNS server. So the servers, we have them at different levels. It's just like you have a master-slave relationship. We have the primary servers, we have the secondary servers, okay? So if you cannot get from one of the servers, you can get, that's the conversion, the translation, it can get from a different server. So an organization needs to monitor its domain reputation, including its IP, to help protect against malicious external domains. So DNS spoofing. So DNS spoofing, okay, this one, what I will need to do quickly, just to read through. The DNS spoofing is more of like somebody who takes advantage of this address, somebody who will now go and take advantage of this IP address. So this guy will not take advantage of this IP address and begin to attack, probably take advantage of those who visit the site. So when you go to the site, the next thing, probably you see the site University of Jos and you think that you need to make some payment there. And the moment you're making your payment, you're providing your account detail, your bank details, and whatnot. So somebody pretends to be this by spoofing, okay, or take advantage of this through spoofing. And another trick that sometimes these guys will do, some attackers will do, sometimes you may see like this is Google, you have double O here, but then maybe this double, instead of double O, you see zero. It's not really O, but you see zero, and you think it's Google. So you just type. So some attackers, but that is not called spoofing. But that's another trick again they use, where you think that you are going to the Google website. Okay. So don't worry, in the next 10 minutes we will be done. So that's spoofing. Somebody who hijacked the address or who hijacked the IP address. Those are called spoofing. Take advantage of the address Then domain hijacking, when an attacker wrongfully gains controls of target DNS information, they can make unauthorized changes to it. So like what I just mentioned, the Google, he will take, he gains access to the target, then he adds an O to it. Then you think that you are going to Google. That is the hijacking. Then uniform resource location URL, a unique identifier for finding a specific resources on the internet. Redirecting a URL commonly happens for legitimate purposes. So the URL, this is your URL. Let's see. This is my browser. Open up my browser. As you can see, Teams. This is my URL. Okay. Google Images. This is my URL. Click on. This is my URL. So when you copy this, you have https colon / / that is your URL. Okay? Uniform resource location. Okay, so let's move to the next layer 2 attacks. Attackers often take advantage of vulnerabilities in layer 2. So just like I said, you still need this networking essential. For those who have not done that, please, I will encourage you to go back to networking essentials so that you learn a bit of networking. So there's what we mean by layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. Okay, sorry, layer 2, yes, there's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So all these attackers could take advantage of any of the layers. So for layer 2, what you have within layer 2, you have the MAC address spoofing, app spoofing, IP spoofing. I hope you know this. I hope you know this. I wouldn't want to go into detail to this, but I pray that you know this because it's important. Like the MAC. Okay, let me just quickly just do a little bit of this. Like the MAC address. The MAC address is same as your fingerprints. Your fingerprint. You can travel from this country to another country. Your fingerprint does not change. It tells who you are. Okay, it's unique to you in particular. So that is the MAC address. The IP address changes as you move from a country or from one region to the other. Like now, you are here in Nigeria. So when you go to the United States, your some certain things, your attributes, some certain attribute about you changes, but your fingerprint still remains. Okay, so those are some things that within a system, the system has a MAC address. Also, a system that is connected to a particular network will have an IP address. So let me quickly show you what I have with respect to this quickly, so that you have what where is it clear? Okay, let me clear the screen. Clear. Okay, this will not do. Please. Okay. So, are you with me? Let me just do this little one before we're done. We have less than 7 minutes. So, are you with me all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So now let me issue a command. There's a command, we call it IP config. When you do IP config, you put a space, you put a /all. Okay. So when you put that, you have this address. I'm connecting to my mobile device, and I'm using wireless. As you can see from here, I'm using a wireless. Okay, I'm using wireless. I just connected from my phone. I made my phone as a hotspot. So that is why you see here it's written wireless LAN adapter Wi-Fi. That is what I'm connected to. This is the company that made it, Intel. So when you go down, my laptop has been given an IP address. This is my IP address. Okay. Then my laptop has, where is the MAC address? This is the MAC address. We call it the physical address. This is the physical address. We call it the MAC address. So this does not change as you move from one network to the other, but this changes when you connect from one network to the other. As if you connect, if I change to, let's say, I'm not using wireless, I go to wired, you may not see this address. Okay, so this changes, but this still remains. As long as if I connect to another wireless device, this will remain. If I connect to, like, since I'm connecting to my phone, this is what I have. If I connect to another wireless device, let's say SIM router, this will remain, okay, but this will change. So that's what we mean. So attackers now on a network, when your device connects to the network, may have for security, the network device will take note of which device that has this address, which is unique, so that whoever that comes to that network that doesn't belong, maybe there are groups of those addresses tied to the network. Who else that comes with a different MAC address that is not within that group will not be allowed to gain access. So imagine now, somebody who wants to gain access will now spoof. What we mean by spoof? There is a way he will now pretend to be this guy that owns this MAC address so that he'll be able to gain access to the network. So that's what we mean by spoofing. So you can have spoofing also for IP address. There are cases where IP address, like for servers, somebody can spoof that of the IP address for servers so that people will think that individuals or those who are making requests will think that it's coming from the legit server. So that's what we mean by spoofing. So I think I will stop here. I will stop here so that let me allow you guys ask questions. Though there are other things that we need to have looked at, but quickly, man in the middle. Okay, I will just stop here so that when tomorrow we meet, I mean next week, we'll just continue from here. Okay, we'll continue from here. So let me allow you to ask questions if there is any. Let me allow you to ask questions with respect to what we have looked at today. So everyone, if you are with me, if you have any question to ask, please, the floor is open to you. So Kutura, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Okay. Do you have any question for me?
No, sir.
Are you tired?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, I have Benga. I've been calling Benga. I know Olu Benga will be thinking I'm referring to him all this while. Olu Benga. Ajayi. Ajayi is not close by. I hope he's not asleep. Paul Blessing.
Yes,
Paul
sir. Good
Blessing.
evening. Good evening, sir.
Okay.
All
No
right.
question from here.
No question from Benga. You know, I've been calling your name. You have been, in fact, your name is so sweet to call, sir.
Because I'm popular now.
All right. Aminu Yusuf. Aminu Yusuf, are you with us? Aminu probably is asleep. Okay. Yusuf Lukman. We have two Yusuf in the house. Beautiful. One must be the father and one must be the son. Yusuf Lukman.
Exactly, sir. Maybe I'm the son.
Okay. So Aminu Yusuf is the father. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move to Sylvester Planan. Planan, are you here? So I think I have like two persons who probably are asleep. Aminu Yusuf and Sylvester Planan. Gideon David. Gideon David. Gideon David is not there. Mansur Mubashir.
I'm here, sir. There's no question
That is good.
for now.
All right. Udas Samuel Kukut. Hope
Yes,
I
sir.
pronounced the last word correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Okay.
did.
All right.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
No
This
question.
name, No question. This name is from where?
It's from Basa local government.
Basa. Okay, that's great. To hit. Okay, Gideon David just raised his hand. I'll come back to you. To hit. Kasim.
Yes,
Just
sir.
clapping.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, that's good. Evelyn Dawson, Luca.
I'm here, sir. No
Okay,
question.
great. All right. Then we have is it Lukman? Is it Rumaisa? Lukman? Lukman is not there. Bello Abba Ibrahim. Bello Abba
Yes, sir.
Ibrahim. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Then
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Bello.
And thank you for this fantastic lecture, sir.
Thank you, Bello. Thank you. Abdul.
I have questions, sir. I have questions,
Okay, I'll
sir.
come to you. Okay, I'll come
All
to
right,
you.
sir.
Abdul
All right,
Fattah.
sir.
Abdul Fattah, are you with us? Abdul Fattah is not there. Oluchi Celestina. Oluchi Celestina. Okay. So quickly, ask your question. I think it's time already. Ask your question.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Sir, my question is in regards to ransomware, a ransom attack.
Yeah.
Which is more like kidnapping, in simple terms, sir. Sir,
Yes.
is there any way a person can regain his control of his document or systems without paying the ransom, sir?
First thing first, make sure you install anti-ransom applications like internet security, antivirus. That's the first thing you need to do on your system. If you are using Windows 10, your Windows 10 already has tools that deals with ransomware. The only thing you need to do is just to update your Windows operating system time to time. That is important. But if your system is already attacked, if your system is already attacked, it depends on the type of ransom. Some you may be able to recover without making any payment. Others you have to make payments.
All right,
so
sir.
Let me quickly go to David. I think, is it David? Somebody was asking.
All right, sir. Thank
is it
you,
David?
Sir.
Is okay. So you can put your mic on mute. David, someone just raised. Is it David? Gideon David. Ask your question. I can see your hands up. Quickly. Unmute your mic and speak. Okay, David has dropped his hand. All right, so I think we'll stop here. So I'll say thank you very much for attending this class, for staying up to this time. I really appreciate that. I hope our number will continue this way and also improve. Take note, the system is already taking attendance. We are taking attendance, and that will also be part of your assessment. So I'm grateful. Let's meet again next week for the continuation of this module 1. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good night. Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Very good. Around.